Hello and welcome to Teatro Flamenco and Rincon series. I'm Carola Sertuche, Artistic Director of the Flamenco of San Francisco. And today we have a very special guest, Miguel Santos, the former Artistic Director of Teatro Flamenco. Teatro Flamenco began in 1966 and was founded by Adela Clara. And then years after, our guest, Miguel Santos, he took over the company. Hola Miguel, ¿qué tal?
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Bienvenido.
Bueno, aquí estamos otra vez.
Muy bien.
Well, anyway, my name is Miguel Santos. I've been with Theater Flamenco since 1986. And I've retired, so I have also enjoyed all those years that I spent with Theater Flamenco. I was born in Lompoc. I am Mexican-American, and I come from a big family. It's 9. My mother, she also took care of my sister's children, and so we had a big family, maybe about 15 together. And so we were all brought up as brothers and sisters. And my mother would teach my little sister and myself Mexican dances when we were she was 8, my little sister, and I was about 10, and we would perform in Mexican fiestas, like Cinco de Mayo and the 16 de September.
So that's how we start, dancing folklore, Mexican folklore.
Yes, and then I had all this kind of nourishment from my mother, was always so busy with so many of us that I was just a free soul. I could just go anywhere I wanted to, I could do. So I really enjoyed my childhood, but we didn't have too much money. My father passed away when he was 40 and I was 4 years old. And so it was quite a hardship with my family. So at a young age, I learned to go out and make a living for the family. I started working in the yards, cleaning yards, and I would work as cleaning pans at a bakery shop, and shined shoes, and sold newspapers, just everything that I could bring money home.
To help your family.
So then, as I got older, I got a job as working in a print shop. And that print shop sort of set me my goal to go to college. I thought I wanted to be a printer, not a dancer.
Wow.
So I just was kind of, I did enjoy printing, but I thought this person that gave me the job, I wanted to be like him because he was Mexican and spoke beautiful English. And so he was my idol at that time. So.
And then when you start to do more like Spanish classes, because I remember you told me, you start more before flamenco, with Spanish.
And then I went from, I got a job at a soda jerk shop, and I learned to be, to do soda work. Well, anyway, what I meant was I learned to be a waiter, and I would get tips, and I would save all my tips in a can of pineapple juice, and I would put all my tips in there. and the checks that I would get, my salary, I would give to my mother, and what the tips that I would get and put in the pineapple can, I would save for to go to college. So, but as a child, I had problems with my ear. I had punctured eardrums, so I had to go to school, and as a child, my ears would start draining, and then my teachers would send me home. So I lost 2 years of school, and so as I got older, I just told myself, well, I better go to summer school and make up for what I lost in school.
Mm-hmm.
So then I decided I would go to college. I went to college in Compton, and I was trying to learn more about printing. And so when I got there, I was, the first time I was away from Lompoc. And Lompoc was, at that time, was a small little town, maybe 1,500 population. And then when I went to Los Angeles, I found out that city life I enjoyed very much, because I got away from Lompoc.
Yeah, more movement, more people.
So then my mother, when we were young, and my sisters, my mother would take me to dances with my sisters, and that's where I learned about that I wanted to be a dancer. So I went to college. I graduated in college, and then after 2 years in college, I just finished junior college. Then I decided if I wanted to be a professional dancer, I had to leave, go and study in Hollywood.
And then you moved to LA.
Yeah, and that was about 24 years old. I never had professional training. My mother couldn't afford it, so when I was a child. So the only way I could get to dance was go to dances with my sisters. So I went to Hollywood, and I said, well, I better start with ballet. So ballet is actually the birth of dance, and to have ballet, it really makes things much easier. Mm-hmm. So then I went to this Hollywood ballet studio, and I saw these dancers jumping and everything, and doing pliés and doing jetés, and they were just flying. And I said, wow, I don't think I could do that. So I started, and so I said, well, what do I need to have for clothes? So I had to get a leotards and ballet slippers and a dance belt, and I didn't know anything about how to put it, what do you do with this?
With all this.
So there was a person assistant to the teacher named Marcel Pasquale. He was an elderly person from Paris. He had been done a lot of choreography for a lot of people there, but he was in his retirement age, and he started doing some dances for companies and everything. And so he says, you come to, and I'll teach you privately. And he did, but I felt I wasn't getting what I wanted out of it. So I went to another studio, and that was Ernest Belcher. He was the teacher there in Hollywood for a lot of movie stars. And he was the father of Marge Champion, which was Goward Champion, and that was her father. So then I started to go to his classes, and I said to him, see, I don't have any money, but if you could please let me clean
the studio, no?
The studio. I would work for my classes. And so he says, oh, sure, I could give you could come and do that.
And then
so
you start to study.
I took every class I could. I had to make up for lost time. I needed my body to be trimmed as a dancer. So, and there was 5 boys in there. There were around 20. So we became all good friends. And that class was, in that class there was what's her name?
Bueno, it's okay.
Julie Newmar. And Julie Newmar and I would go out, and we would go restaurants, and we'd go to the flea market and everything. So one day I said, Julie, why don't we both go to Central Casting and see if we could get movie work? And then so we went, and then she started. We signed and all, and they asked us what kind of dance we did and everything, and we put our age and height and everything. So she had on her application that she was 5'6". Well, Julie was 6 foot.
She lied.
And then I told Julie, I says, Julie, you're not 5'6", I'm 5'7". And look, and you're towering over me. And so then, and she says, okay, I'll see, they're looking for special people, you know.
Well,
and
sometimes
you're tall, beautiful, and very talented. They'll take you. And they did. And I went on calls for Singing in the Rain and other things in there, but being Latino and short wasn't what they were looking for.
They were looking more.
Yeah, so they wanted more that type. So after that, I got training, and then there was a woman who was looking for, her name was Josephine, and she had a boarding house, and she says, I need somebody here to help me. And she was taking flamenco classes. So she says, why don't you come with me to take flamenco with me?
And that's how you start.
Then I met Paco, which was from Spain, and he was also sort of retired. And then I met a dancer there named Arturo, and Arturo took a liking to me, and he says, why don't you come and we could rent a place and rent a studio, and we could rehearse together and learn more. And Arturo had more experience than I did, so he told me. So then we started to like each other, and we became partners. And then
sometimes happen.
And then we stayed. Pretty much we would work, and then I met Jeanette Cazone, and Arturo and I started taking classes. And in that class there was a girl named Dolores Ellsworth. Dolores Ellsworth, I says, Dolores, there's no way you could go dancing flamenco as Dolores Ellsworth.
And you told her.
So she says, you know, my mother was this understudy for the Mexican actress, very famous Mexican actress named Dolores del Rio. And
my father loved her.
Dolores and she was very big favorite in Mexico.
Famous, yeah.
And her mother's name was Carmen. Dolores' mother was named Carmen. So I said, why don't you call yourself Dolores del Carmen? And she said, oh, that sounds good. So she became Dolores del Carmen. So with Jeanette Cazone, we perform at the Greek Theater in Hollywood in the Opera Carmen. And since Jeanette Cazone knew Jose Greco and when they were young, and they studied at the same studio. So Jeanette got an audition for us with Jose Greco when he came to California.
That he was Hollywood. A famous, no? One of the famous flamenco dancers here in the United States.
Yeah,
Paco de Lucia, he performed with him.
And he was, you know, very, well, he was #1 actually.
Yeah, he was very good.
And then, well, throughout the world. So I auditioned for him, and he liked us very much. He says, I could use you 3, but I can only take Dolores because I need a girl right now. But I'll call you in September. And then in September, he called us, Arturo and me.
To join the company, no?
To join the company in New York. He flew us to New York. And New York.
That will be amazing, no? Experience.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. The weather was it was very hot and all. So I've never have danced that much with a guitar. I was sort of green, and I needed a lot of experience more. So after a while, I just says, I got to get to Spain, where I can learn from Spaniards the dance. So in the meantime, in Hollywood, we met this woman named Antonia Morales, and she used to play.
It's incredible that you remember all the names, Miguel, of all these people.
Yeah.
Wow, and then because you mentioned all names. Incredible.
She played the guitar, and she would sing, so we got used to some guitar, but not like the Jose Greco's guitars. I mean, they were just super great. So then there was a dance couple. They were from Spain. They were invited by the Ice Capades to come to perform with the Ice Capades. They were doing something Spanish. Theme was Spanish. And they would put a platform at the middle of the ice ring. And and put them there, and they would dance. And then Antonia introduced me to them, to Mercedes and Albano, and we studied with Mercedes and Albano some flamenco. So they said, when you get to Spain, you must go and study with my mother. Her name is La Kika.
Incredible dancer too.
Which was the choreographer for the Horsemen. That Jose Greco with the 3 men. She choreographed that.
La Kika.
La Kika. And very, very beautiful.
Yeah. I think there is some videos on YouTube, not many, but of La Kika.
Yeah. So then, so we ended up, and in the meantime, we were working with Antonia Morales. She had all these connections in Hollywood. She was working, doing choreography for Spanish themes, and then we would go and dance for movie stars at their homes for fiestas and everything. And I met a lot of movie stars that way.
You told me Rita Hayworth, no?
Huh?
You told me one time that you meet Rita, or you danced for Rita Hayworth, no?
Oh, that's later on.
Ah, okay, sorry, because I remember the story. Yeah.
So after that, we did end up meeting with Antonia in Madrid. Then we started, and we performed in Germany for the American soldiers, and we would go from Paris to Germany, back to Spain, then back to Paris, and back to Germany. So we did constantly. We went
in Europe,
worked in Europe. So then, after that, we came back to
United States,
to Arizona. To the United States, and went to live in Arizona. Well, because that was Arturo's home.
Where he's
and
from.
then Arturo and I, we broke our relationships. But before that, we formed a company in Arizona called Danzas Ibéricas, and we used Lydia Torreya,
a beautiful dancer too.
A protege
I know her.
of dance, and we asked her to be our leading lady. And she was only 15, but she danced like a grown woman.
Yes,
and
she's
she
very
was
beautiful
beautiful and nice personality and very gracious. And her parents helped us with the company. And I went to Mexico and brought guitars, Benito Palacios, and then by that time we just Arturo and I said, well, I told Arturo, says, I want to out, and I said, fine, we'll do that. So then I went to a bar, and I actually went out with a friend, and there was a Bunny Benedict, which I met. He wanted to meet a flamenco dancer. So we met, and I liked him very much. So then he says, why don't you come to the party we're going after the bars close? We're going to have a party at such a place. And we did. So, but I forgot to get his phone number. So I knew somebody that knew his phone number. And then that became history.
And then you were together for after that, until...
We were stayed so long, we
50
became
years,
a couple.
No? More, no? More than 50 years you've been...
We were 61 years
60,
together.
wow, incredible.
Then that's when I lost him, and in 2019. So we moved to. I told him I was leaving for Los Angeles, and but he says I'm going to San Francisco. He had just finished his getting his master's in education and in Spanish and history. That's what's his major. And so...
He speaks perfectly Spanish, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
He spoke Spanish very well. So then I told Bunny, I says, I got a contract to go to Los Angeles and go and perform at the Million Theater, which was, they would bring a lot of people from South America, Mexico, mostly Latinos. And so Lydia and I went to Los Angeles, performed, and there was Lola Montes. She saw me and says, I would like you to come, would you like to come and work for my company? And you'll be the first dancer. And I says, okay. So I took that, and so Bunny came with me. And then we lived in Los Angeles and everything. And by that time, I was 1965.
1965, before almost when Teatro Flamenco.
Yeah. I had a lot of dancing in between.
Wow.
But then in 1965, I told Bunny, I says, I think I'm not getting too many jobs anymore. And that was about 39. And then I said, I have to go to Spain. And then Bunny says, but you don't have money to go to Spain. I says, well, I could probably do something in Spain. And I had $100. And I took the Greyhound bus to New York. And then from New York, I took the plane to Spain. And I told Bunny, I'm going to be gone for a whole year. In the meantime, I was dancing with a girl named Dolores Valencia. And she called me. We had just finished an engagement. And she says, what are you doing? Do you have any jobs coming? I says, no, I'm going to Spain. And says, oh, I wish I could go with you. So that's
what happened, no? The same.
Yeah.
When I hear somebody go, I'm like, oh, can I go with you?
So then she says, well, have fun in Spain. And the next day she calls me up. She said, oh, I'm going to Spain with you. I says, wait a minute. I'm going for a year, yeah. He says, okay. I said, but you're married. You got a child. And she says, oh, yeah. She said, well, I'm going with you.
And she left her child and her husband?
She left the husband, but...
Not the child?
Well, no, the child also stayed with the mother.
Oh, okay.
She had a mother there.
With the grandmother, no?
So she said goodbye to the husband when he went to work, and the husband wasn't aware that she was going to go to Spain. So Dolores came to Los Angeles, where I was living then. We were going to go to New York and then go to Spain.
That's what happened, no? When you are really passionate and we love something, no? You leave anything to follow, no? Your dreams.
Yeah, so then her husband calls the night before I was leaving for Spain, and Dolores answers the phone. He says, why didn't you tell me you were going to Spain? And so it was a big thing.
Oh.
So anyway, she went, and we went to Spain. We landed in Portugal, and then we took a boat to Sevilla. And then in Sevilla, I got a place to live in with the Gitanos de Bronce. They were performing with Jose Greco. And there's two pairs. There's two, actually what I should say there was one gitano de bronce, that the first ones, and then there was the second ones, gitano de bronce. So the first ones. So anyway, I studied in Sevilla, and I took classes with Enrique de Cojo, which had only, which was, he was crippled one foot.
One of the great dancers, no?
But he was the biggest choreographer in Spain at that time. And so by that
he was
time,
very good dancer, actually, no? Whatever he do with the hands, and I
yeah.
love him. I always do. I never meet him, but I
yeah, people told you
a lot
about
of time
him.
I put videos, no, to have reference of some people that I like, no?
And then he would have the cane, it would be like this, and then the other foot would be the sounding thing.
Yeah,
and then you had to just interpret it.
He was
yourself.
A very good dancer.
So I told him, well, you see, I have to go to Madrid because I want to learn more classical Spanish dance. Because in the Spanish dance school, we have 4 schools of dance. We have the flamenco, we have the folk dancing, there's the ballet school, and the modern school. That's composers, using composers. So he says, well, I could teach you all that.
Well,
and then I said, well, not with your foot.
But he did. He couldn't do it. Yes.
So anyway, by that time, I was ready to leave Sevilla. I had $50 left because I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay there a whole year. And so I left Sevilla, and then the night that I arrived, I went directly to a restaurant where all the American flamenco dancers would go and congregate. And Maria Benitez was there. And Maria Benitez at that time only did Mexican dances. And her partner were going to Valencia. And then I said, Maria, I don't have a place to stay for the night. And Maria says, well, why don't you stay at my place? And we're going to Valencia. And I said, well, sure, that would be great. And then I could get my own place.
In Maria Benitez, but in Madrid, no?
Yeah,
in Madrid.
And she was studying Spanish dance then. And she became a big star then.
Yeah, I performed with her. I was lucky to
so
dance in her company. And the same, I went on tour. She's the same, one of the greatest dancers here in the United States and in the world.
And she brought a lot of dancers.
Yes, and what she did all the years, she made all these workshops and the summer season, the incredible, like.
Yeah.
And how many people learned from her, no? And brought a lot of artists. And
she brought a lot of people.
She's a legend, no?
And she gave a lot of people jobs.
Yeah,
and
she's a legend.
And now,
like you now, yes.
Now she's not very good, feeling good, and age has taken over on her. And I don't know anything about what condition she's in now. But she was a very dear friend and everything. So then I had to take classes, so I went to Victoria Eugenia, which was the #1 teacher there. Everybody was taking classes.
Victoria Eugenia.
Victoria Eugenia.
Yes, very good dancer too.
And
then you came back, no?
La Betty.
La Betty.
That's what they call her. And just recently, in Madrid, she still teaches. And they gave her a big, I think she's 90 something.
And then when you start with Teatro Flamenco, like with the company?
Well,
After you went to Spain, you danced there. And
yes, and finally, I went out.
You performed,
went home, and then
when you came back, no, from that trip. When you came back, no,
I came back from Madrid after in 1965.
Oh wow!
Yeah, 67 actually, and I got a lot of offers to come in
to dance,
to work,
perform,
and so this man called me and says, "Do you have a partner?" And I said, "Oh yes, I have a partner," and I didn't. So I found a girl. Her name Maria Dolores, and we performed near Disneyland. And 14 Bandido was the name of the place where I performed. Then we finished there for 2 years. We were there. And then I got a call to come to San Francisco to perform at the Sinaloa Cantina. But prior to that, there was a friend of Adela Clara, and she had a friend who was in Spain who wanted a dress to be delivered to Adela, and so Adela called me after I got from Spain. I had a bata de cola for her, and she came in, and then we talked, and then she said, "Could I see you perform?" I mean, to dance.
You're dancing, no?
And then she did, and that was the first time I met Adele.
Okay.
And so, but by the time I started to, Dolores and I were performing at that time, and she came to one of my performances in San Francisco, and she says, "I have some shows for school. Would you like to do that during the daytime?" And then, so that I did the shows with her and her company, and then my contract was over. In the meantime, in Los Angeles, Bunny did let's say, in Los Angeles, Bunny stayed in Los Angeles, and they had an earth movement. The houses were moving all over in my area, except for mine. So I didn't have a place. So I told Bunny, I'm going to stay in San Francisco, come.
And then he
came with you. Then he came with me. Then I introduced him to Adele. I says, he did all the costumes for theater.
You can see it.
Most of them, not all of them, but most of them, some were given to the company. And he never had any training whatsoever.
I'm sewing, no?
And he did 5 ballets that he did all the costumes to, a lot of them from here.
But he was an artist too. Look what he created, no?
So, so anyway.
And then you start, no, with Teatro Flamenco in around
I started with Adela. I became her first dancer, choreographer, and then she made me the assistant director.
And that was 1960 something, no?
1986.
No, that's what you became director, no?
No. Yeah.
You were dancing with her, like in the company as
19 years at
principal dancer, and then you helped, no, with the choreographies. And
and
then in 1986, no, is when you became.
Yeah, I think it was 86.
Artistic director.
She retired from it.
From the company, because she was teaching and choreographer, no?
Yeah, she would still come in and give choreography. And then she got out, and then she gave the company to Ginny Roman. And then Ginny Roman was there for 3 years, and then she decided she wanted to do something else. And then that's when I became the artistic director. And
for 20-something years, no?
yeah, so then I invited you to come as a
Well, lucky.
to come and perform for me, and I liked you, and I thought that you would be the good person to take over, because I was getting to be about 80.
And he was performing, actually.
And performing, and well,
I remember when you asked me, I was like, in shock, like really happy.
Even at 90, 94, I performed.
Last year here in El Rincon, when we still can do the live performers.
It was a tribute to Bunny's death.
Yes.
And
2 years ago, no?
who?
2 years ago is when we did the show that he performed.
Yeah, 2 years ago. That's 19.
Incredible.
And
But it's a beautiful story, Miguel. It's super inspired. Like, that's what I want people to listen to you, no? Because it's very, because sometimes, no, it's very difficult to have the inspiration, no? And
yeah, well, I think that
that's what for me is very important, no? Like for people to hear how you start, no? And in that epoch, that it was more difficult, because now we have, I think it's a little easier for the new generation, no? With the videos and YouTube, and but what you pass through, no? Like even you say that you take the boat to a ship, no? To go to Spain. And now it's easy. It's like,
you know,
it take a lot of courage, no? And it's incredible, no?
I think that Theater Flamenco has given so many performances. We're about 55 years now.
This year will be the 55.
55.
Yeah.
And
hopefully we can continue, no, for many years.
Well, I'm sure it's good, even if, I don't think there's a company in anywhere, even in Spain, that's been together for 55.
The Ballet of San Francisco.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean,
I don't know,
in the world.
Of flamenco, maybe, of Spanish.
Flamenco, yes.
Flamenco and...
Yeah, we're the second oldest company in San Francisco.
Yeah. Okay, I want to do another question before we finish. This. What makes your legacy distinct? Oh, I'm sorry with my...
Well, you know, people at my age, which I'm 95 now.
Will be, May.
Yeah.
Bueno.
And I think it's not years, how old you are.
Yeah.
It's a matter how you feel. If it's age, it's only numbers. And I feel great. And I enjoy being a dancer. That's my life. If my life was over, I would be very happy the way my life, how I lived my life.
That's incredible. Wish we all, no, have feel that, no, to happy, to live, no, the life happy, no. Okay, another question. A ver esta, ¿cuál era? Espera. What is something that you love seeing in the next generation of dancers?
Well, flamenco is not easy to do. It takes a lot of studying, and I would wish that whoever undertakes the study of flamenco learn the language, learn the dance, and have a good rhythm. And so I think with that saying, I feel the art of flamenco is going all over the world now, and I'm sure people enjoy it as much as I do.
So beautiful. Our form is. And last question: do you think age exists?
Well, as for me, I'm thankful that I still can move.
No, but you are perfect, and incredible that you remember everything, Miguel. All the names, is incredible.
Well, thanks to that,
Thanks to dance, no? I think it's helped.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a sister now she's an older sister, and she's 87, and then I just lost my baby sister, which was 92.
Incredible. But that's your family has
and my
very
brother,
good genes.
And my older brother, he was 100. So maybe I may have a chance to hit 100.
You will, maybe more. We don't have to think about it, but you will. But Miguel, thank you so much for doing this. I hope everybody get inspired with him, with a beautiful life and beautiful career. And thank you to give me the company. I will, hopefully, I will keep all the years and maintain the company strong. And I want to also thank you to all the people that they help us this year through the donation, and because, as everybody, we are suffering all the arts, and not just the art, a lot of people. And thanks to a lot of my students and different people, they give us donation, we can keep the studio. And also my landlord, he was very, very good. And thanks God, we're still here in the studio. And
thank
Miguel.
you for having me.
Gracias, increíble, Miguel. Muchas gracias.
Yeah.
So now we go to the performers. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
Si tienen preguntas, se me olvidó, tú diles.
Thank you so much for the story. It's very inspiring. We actually have 38 people watching us online.
Oh.
And a lot of your family, actually, there are some of your nieces and nephews telling us how much they love you. But I wanted to actually interact with the audience and see if somebody has a question for you. Would you be able to answer?
Yes.
Somebody in the audience.
Okay.
So anyone who has a question for Miguel, please write it in the comment section and we can ask here live and he can answer for us. So we will wait because there's a little bit of a delay. So Daniel says, hi, Miguel. No questions so far, just applause for now.
Okay.
Well, it looks like we're not getting questions, so we'll transition to our performance.
Well, I think I gave him so much
You gave, yeah, it's an
information.
amazing story. It's really an honor for me to be here and listen to this. Absolutely incredible, and just your experience, so inspiring. Thank you. So, and now we're moving on to the performance.
Al 4, sí.
Ay, en la pila del bautismo, en Candelaria le
canto, ay te rompe lo de atado. Y cada vez que te canto, ay te rompe del atado. Ahí debajo de esa farola, ahí debajo de esa farola, que me estoy sacando una espina. Que hasta el corazón me llora, ay, 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 ulere, 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 con los ojos de mi niña y amalumbraré, cae con los ojos de mi niña y amalumbraré, ay, ulere, 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 ay, con los ojos de mi niña y amalumbraré, ay, con los ojos de mi niña yo me alumbraré. Le, cachito de pan, ay, le, cachito de pan, le, cachito de pan. Dale. Dale. Gracias. Ole, viva Teatro Flamenco. Ole. Vamos por la alegría. Ole. Ay, vaya tranza de Sevilla, ay, la de amarillo albero, ay, la que huele a manzanilla y acá, pobre de tu pero la que huele a manzanilla y acá, pobre de tu pero tiriti tran tran tran. Tiriti tran tran trau, tiriti tran tran trau, tiriti tran tran trau, tiriti tran tran trau, tiriti tran 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 trau, tiriti tran tran trau, tiriti tran 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 trau. aclarada la tarde, ay, cuando pasa la tormenta, aclarada la tarde, que me gusta venir contigo, ay, porque luego hago la paz, que me gusta venir contigo, ay, porque luego hago la paz. la Sertuche, por alegría. Ole. Miguel. Ale.
So we have some questions from the audience, and I have written them down.
Okay.
So if you don't mind.
A little louder when you speak.
Okay. So first question, do you have a favorite season show or one that was special?
Do I have a what?
A favorite season show or one that was special?
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Season show.
Well, you mean since in my career, or?
From Teatro Flamenco.
Well, it's actually when we had our, let's see, I'm trying to think about what, yeah, I would say when we had our 50th anniversary, we really had a beautiful performance. We had guest artists and everything, and I feel that that was a very nice one.
Thank you. Next question. Who is your personal inspiration in flamenco?
Well, you know, flamenco, we have so many. It's actually every 5 years a new artist comes in, and then it gets a little better and it gets better and better. But I think my inspiration was Antonio Reis. He was really the best dancer. He was a complete dancer. I mean, he could do all kinds of schools of Spanish dance. And I don't think I miss the other forms of dance in Spanish. I like the Ballet Nacional. It's really the most beautiful company. I'll go anytime if it's performing anywhere to see them.
Thank you. Do you have a favorite palo?
Follow?
Palo of flamenco. What is your favorite?
Oh, well, Soleá Bubulería. It's really it's a nice one. It's very, you know, when they did Soleá, and then you did Bulerias, and it's combined at a time when I've started, Soleadas was a rhythm. You didn't have too much footwork, and now it's completely footwork. And the bounce, I like the rhythm of Soleá Bubulería because it has such an upbeat. And then there's seguirías, but now it becomes bulerías, seguirías. Mm-hmm. So those are things that I've seen so much of this changes. And every time I went to Spain, I would always thought I was a beginner. And it's kind of evolved so much. The flamenco is just changing all the time. God only knows what it'll be 50 years from now. They'll probably be dancing on their, I don't know what.
Okay, let's see what else we have. This is, I think everybody wants to know this one, including myself. Tell us about how you keep in shape and your nutrition.
Well, I mean, I'm not what I used to be, skinny. I've gained some weight. And now I'm putting on some clothes. And I say, oh my God, I need to get new clothes. No, it's just enjoy yourself and don't go, make sure that every time you're going to eat something, what it's going to do to your body. And that's one thing about me, I always told myself I have one body and I'm supposed to take it, and that's my instrument. And I managed not to smoke. I like alcohol, but I would drink a beer, maybe, wine, but I never abuse food. I always was very careful what I put in my body.
I was hoping there is a magic potion that...
Well, I mean, you know, we're all different here. Some people go overboard, and some don't, or some don't even try to gain weight. But no, I better start thinking of what I'm putting in my body.
Okay, we have one more. At what age did you know that you wanted to be a dancer?
Oh, at 10.
At 10?
At 10, I knew that, and I wanted to study dance, but where I come from, we were a little town, and there was no money and no teachers. And so at 24, that's when I really started full out dancing. And but I always did ballroom dancing, and I think that's why, see, with dancers, they live long because they've been trained, they've been dancing, moving. Now Carola here, I think she'll be 200 because she moves so much, you know, she's an inspiration.
Yeah. Wow.
No, I know. I mean, I exaggerated a little.
And one last one. I'm going to try to say this. ¿Conoció a Manolo Vargas?
Yes. Oh, yes. Now, he was an inspiration. And being Mexican, I guess everywhere when I was a kid, we didn't have too many like school teachers that represented you as a Mexican. And that was something we missed. Unfortunately, we missed a lot of that because during the time we weren't allowed to speak Spanish, and we only had to speak English. So when I saw Manolo Vargas and Pilar Lopez company, that Jimenez also, I admired those people. And nice thing about flamenco, it kind of opens doors for you. Because when I joined Jose Greco's company, which was at the time, I wasn't that good. I was just beginning. I was a ballet dancer. And when I auditioned for Jose Greco, one of the people that were helping him with the company says, why don't you audition for a ballet company? I said, there's no way I could be a ballet dancer. And so Greco opened doors for me. I mean, just the name, so it's good to know who you are.
Could I ask now my question for you? How many years did it take for you to become comfortable with flamenco?
Never. I mean, flamenco is so competitive. I mean, it's just every every even little step that you do, you embellish on it, and no, it's you don't conquer flamenco.
Understood.
There's so much to learn. I mean, and it's very nice about flamenco that you have a guitarist, you have a singer, you have clapping, and the performer. And when you have to get them all together, it's duende. And it's really something that it's very hard to get. You know, when you get that, I've only felt duende once. That was when I was about 50.
Wow.
But it was, I mean, that's when you could just let go and don't have to worry about the rhythm, and you have all the people back of you and just keeping you in rhythm and everything. So it's beautiful.
It's incredible. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Thank you, Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Muchas gracias a todos, y especialmente a Miguel, Clara, Roberto, y Art, or videographer. Thank you so much. Gracias. Hope to see you next time.